This is how it's done.
So it's half beaded in and half hanging off.
Okay.
So see, it's just absolutely my time to shine.
Be on YouTube now.
And then what he's doing over here is he's just putting a hair of volume in the tube. He's not going to let it expand out there. He's just going to do a very little bit so it doesn't get twisted.
Okay.
And then we're just going to tighten down the cap so it doesn't escape. You don't have to do this, but I do.
Matt, what's going on with the kids' bikes here?
Going back out. So just a little bit of volume there.
Okay.
Not expanded, just a little volume. And then we're going to work it in that hole there. Pull it over. Because there's a little bit of volume, it's not going to get twisted on there. I'm just going to go around. Just kind of gently push it in. All the way around. And then we're going to start beating it on. You notice I'm pushing the tube up and under. So it sticks. And actually, right now, I'm going to let out a little more air. Just a little bit. There's a little too much in there. And these are tough tires to put on. I will admit that. But they are really, really rugged tires. So it's very tough to get a flat once you get them in there. But they are tight. So they're frustrating to get on. But once they're on, they typically stay put. And they're extremely tough to flat. I had a customer who had these for 4,500 miles. And finally had to replace them. He had one flat over 4,500 miles.
Wow.
So it was
So
great.
3 in one day is kind of unusual.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
But yeah, we checked the Velux on the inside, the rim tape, and that looked fine. And we checked the tire, and the tire was fine. Checked the rim itself. It wasn't jagged or anything. So I think it may be just possibly the technique of putting it on. Maybe getting some of the rubber snagged in here.
Yeah.
And just really, cramming that in, maybe at the last little point when you're pulling it over. One thing I'll note, by the way, is I don't want to finish right here because it's tougher to finish right near the valve.
Okay.
So I'm going to get past that point
That makes sense.
and just kind of knead it on. And actually that went on way easier than it usually does. So another thing that could happen is if it's happening when you're filling it up, because it went on so easily, it usually doesn't go on this easily. Usually it's much tougher. Is it could just pop over the edge if you're filling it up quickly. And then the rubber on the inside, the tube that we just put in there, can expand very rapidly, thinning out the rubber. And when it's thin enough, think of it like a water balloon. It just pops very loud. So that could be another thing too.
Yeah, all 3 pops are very loud.
Okay. So it may be that the bead just unseated because it's actually a loose bead. And typically with this tire, it's a very tight bead. So you have to be very careful and make sure as you're filling it up, it's all the way around even. And you want to check that, especially early on when you're filling it up.
Okay.
The last thing I'll mention is it could also be this piece here. This I've seen a lot of people do, putting it on the inside of the rim. This absolutely goes on the outside. This is just a locking nut to keep it on there.
Okay.
And that helps keep it stable when you're filling it up.
Okay.
So it could be that as well. So yeah, all it comes down to now is just putting air in there and making sure the bead stays.
Okay.
And then